Hey guys, it is day number 22 of 366 days. My name is Alan Thomas, and I have Rethink Dieting, and it's part of Transform My Future. And what led me to this world of dieting is that in 2017 I stepped on the scale and I saw 304 pounds staring back at me. It was March the 2nd, 2017, and that happened to be the day after my 31st wedding anniversary to my wife Angie, who I'm still married to, and we'll celebrate number 35 coming up here in about a month and a half. But when I stepped on the scale and saw 304 pounds, it was not that I was shocked, first of all, even though it wasn't that much extra weight than I knew would be there. I figured I'd be 295, 298, but 300 just was such a monumental number to me. It was one of those tipping point kind of moments, one of those moments where the straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. I can't think of any more metaphors right now, but I really, it wasn't that I hadn't tried for years to lose weight. I mean, diet after diet after diet after diet after diet, and nothing ever worked because I'd stick to it for a week or two, or a month, maybe even as much as a couple of months, and I get some weight off, and it all come rushing back on. And I realized that at age 55, and I was only 5'11" at 304, I had never met a man that was more than 100 pounds overweight that was 65 years old or older. And at 55, that meant I had less than 10 years to live. And I dealt with senior citizens every day. I worked in the life insurance business that dealt with individuals who needed burial insurance, and they start thinking about it when they're like 65 and 70. So I'm sitting with dozens and dozens of clients every week, and couldn't remember meeting one man that was over 100 pounds overweight at age 65. I'm like, oh my God, I got less than 10 years to live. And I'm sure they're out there, but I just couldn't recall ever meeting one. And I also realized that I was likely to be known as my wife's first husband because I'd be dead. My four children, who at the time were 15 years old all the way up to 27, would call somebody else dad. And it would be this one area of my life that I would die a failure. I'd die a failure at controlling my weight. And it was a real tipping point for me. And that led me to a 260-day public journey where I lost 129 pounds in those 260 days. And incidentally, my wife joined along with me, and she lost 63 pounds in 190 days. So it works for men and women. But at the end of the day, what was really a tipping point too was it was always my responsibility. And I think in this age of virtual assistants and outsourcing and focusing on the things that you do best, it's so easy to ignore those things that only we can do. And it's interesting. I don't know if you can hear it. I live on Amelia Island, Florida, with my family, and it's a 2 mile wide island just north of Jacksonville, Florida. And I can hear the train, and this business of weight that I was facing was a lot like staring down a train in the distance that was headed right for me, and I was standing squarely on the tracks. I knew I'd be dead if I didn't do something. But you can't outsource push-ups. You can't outsource weight loss. You can't outsource these things. And I think it's so easy for us to put it on the back burner and say, I'm going to handle this another day. And as we continue to put up with one more day of being embarrassed by our weight, one more day of having to, wear these, huge clothes. I was wearing size 48 trousers, and just one more day of just making excuse after excuse after excuse. And it was always my responsibility. It was never anybody else's responsibility. It always was squarely on my shoulders. I could say that, gosh, my family was having a birthday party, so I had to eat the cake. No, I didn't. Or I could, say that, I used to travel quite a bit. I travel a lot, so I have to eat out a lot, so I couldn't lose weight. Yes, I could. There is no excuse that works. Because when it boils down to it, it is always the person responsible for your weight sits between your elbows. Now, did I have the benefit of coaching? Sure. Did I have the benefit of people? But I made the decision to get the weight off, and that was where it started. It was never the diet. And people talk to me all the time. They say, "How can you help people lose weight and you never tell them what to eat?" Because I've never found it to be the problem. We all know what to eat. It's the sticking to it that's the hard part, and that's what we focus on in Rethink Dieting. And it's always so much fun to watch somebody get that mojo. They get that, they fought it for 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever the amount of time is. Like I'd fought it for 30, probably about 35 years of a scale going up. Now I wasn't 300 pounds 35 years prior to that, but I was fighting it all the same. It was just I was going up the ladder, up the scale of that ladder, and it was almost like I was falling down because I couldn't stop. It was like I was coming off the edge of a cliff and trying to hang on with everything I had, but I was missing the key components. I had the diet stuff down. I mean, I'd been on probably 6 diets, and every one of them worked at some level. I'd gone on a bunch of different exercise routines where I'd learned these exercise, tricks and tactics and all this that worked for my body, but it never seemed to work to get the weight off because at the end of the day, I had not made the decision. I hadn't gotten those distinctions that I learned on that journey from 304 pounds to 175 pounds in 260 days. I got distinctions that allowed me to shed weight. And today when I help individuals who struggle with their obesity, and I use the word obesity not as a shaming word because it's just like data. If you reach this certain level in your weight, go look it up. BMI charts are pretty accurate at some level. If you reach a certain level in your weight, you're considered obese, and you reach another level, you're morbidly obese. And I was beyond morbidly obese. I was way up in the morbidly obese category. And we become so accustomed to saying that, I'll put this off another day, but you can't keep putting it off. I mean, you can, but you're going to face the consequences, and the consequences are severe. They're even, in my opinion, more severe than the health side. The health is huge. It's so important, but what about the consequences of just feeling like we can't do it and knowing that we let a fork and spoon beat us? We let a bowl of ice cream beat us. We let, our unwillingness to be disciplined beat us. And so what I say this to you guys is not to shame or embarrass anybody. It's to say, wake up. It's your responsibility. If you want to get the muscle from building a push-up, you have to do the push-up. You can't outsource it. The responsibility lies between your elbows of the person you wake up with in the morning. That would be you, and that would be me. And so it's not something that you can outsource. So even when if you think you can find the magical diet, you still got to stick to it. So how are you going to do that? Well, if you're stuck and don't know what to do, reach out to me. You can go check out my masterclass at rethinkdieting.com, or you can book a call at transformmyfuture.com/apply, and that's in the video notes here. And we'll have an honest conversation and see if we can help you. But at the end of the day, it is your responsibility, just like it was mine. You cannot outsource that. You cannot outsource your weight loss. You cannot outsource any of that. You have to take responsibility for it, and that's what I had to do. When I figured out some of the pieces of the puzzle, when I figured out, hey, it's just not that complex, and I got the momentum, then it all of a sudden started coming off. When the weight started coming off, things started changing. They changed in my business. They changed in my personal life. They changed in my health. But a lot more is changing because, like I tell the men and women that are part of our program, there's a vein of gold running inside of you that this weight's covering up. And when you discover it, it's the coolest thing in the world. So guys, just be encouraged. You can get the weight off, because I was the worst of the worst. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physical fitness expert. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist. I don't have any particular knowledge other than the knowledge of how to get out of obesity. And I learned it through navigating the wilderness of obesity. So, guys, if you need some help, go to transformmyfuture.com/apply, book a call. It's a totally free call, about 45 minutes, that could change your life and likely will. And but before you get on that call, check out rethinkdieting.com. Check out our masterclass. And tomorrow night, we will see you again. So until then, keep on pressing post as you press forward. Take care.